Hey there guys, how's it going? It is Jules and I'm here for one purpose, and that is to do the Dark Night of the Soul course for my community. Now, I'm hoping to talk for about 45 minutes. I think that's a good amount of time. And I'm going to just talk about the Dark Night of the Soul, what it is, how it works, what to do about it, why you should do something about it, and just dive deep into it. So basically, what is Dark Night of the Soul? It comes from the Bible. I think it's St. John of the Cross, part of the Bible in the New Testament. I'm not 100% sure, but it comes from the Bible, and it's all about basically people on the spiritual path. So okay, there's people who meditate for certain reasons, and then the ultimate reason for meditation is enlightenment, right? So but if you meditate for long enough, you will become enlightened or peaceful and quiet. It's a win-win. But some people don't even know that you can become peaceful and quiet completely, and they just meditate for, I just want a bit more calm, I just want a bit more focus, I just want a bit more, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and I just do it because, I should. But the thing about meditation is, it's a win-win. You become peaceful and quiet. Some people don't realize you can actually just abide in peace and quiet. And when you think, you're still peaceful and quiet. It doesn't sway you. You can be thinking like it can be like your mind can be going crazy, and you can just be like, you can just be like, yeah, cool, all right, and keep your calm. And because your consciousness is so strong that you identify to the gravitational pull of consciousness or spirit or soul, as opposed to the gravitational pull of ego or mind or thought. So basically, you meditate, and look, the whole purpose of this community, and the whole purpose of really, in essence, the whole purpose of meditation and conscious material is to get you to a point where you become enlightened. That's what it's for. That's in my opinion, and if you study anyone who's a spiritual guru or spiritual teacher, or anyone who's conscious enough, they will say the same thing, that the point of life is to meditate. Is to become enlightened. To meditate, to become enlightened, yeah. But well, look, you can say meditation is not just sitting in a form, it's not just in a particular place at a particular time in a particular position. It's also in your daily life. It just means being conscious of consciousness and growing your consciousness. And a meditation can be anything. It's anything that you're present with, anything that brings you to the present moment, anything that is a silence of the mind. So basically, I just lost my train of thought real quick, but basically, that's the point of enlightenment. The point of life is to become enlightened. Oh, I just lost my train of thought. No. The point I'm saying is, this community is all about, so let's say, so if you've joined this community, you're conscious to some degree. And if you're conscious to some degree, then you probably know that enlightenment is the end goal of life. And so basically on that journey, you go through a whole bunch of shit. It's the hardest thing you'll ever do, because it's training the mind, and the mind is everything in a way. As the Buddha says, the mind is everything. What you think, you become. But it's also about the gap between your thoughts. They're equally as important as each other, kind of, but a quiet mind's more important than a positive mind, as Deepak Chopra says. So look, when you're on this journey, on this spiritual journey, it's the hardest thing you'll ever do, because the mind is infinitely sneaky. It doesn't want you to master it. And meditation is the art of mastering the mind, because it's choosing when to think and when not to think. That's what it is. When you're meditating, you're being present, and then so you basically go from presence, you go from the false self to the true self, to the one self to the no self, and you go from so let me go into that. So, and this connects. So look, oh man, so when you're on this journey, so you go from the false self, which is ego, which is thought, which is time, Okay, future and past. Okay, this present moment is meditation. That's all it is. It's super simple. You just stay here, and it may seem stupidly simple, but try and sit for a minute and not let your mind wander. You'll notice you wander within 5, 10 seconds, 15 seconds max, if you've never meditated before. So you go from this false self thinking to the true self presence, to the one self. You grow your consciousness so much you become one with everything. And I'm not quite there. I've had experiences of very high states of consciousness, like God consciousness. I've seen how God consciousness feels. I haven't experienced how God consciousness looks, but I've also experienced heaven, so I know I will get there, and anyone who's determined enough on the journey will get there. So you go from false self, true self, presence, one self, which is what I just explained, being in love, basically, like being like present, and you identify as everything, and then to the no self, where there's no not inside your head. It's relaxed, and you're just in the moment, and there's no identification with form, no identification with thought. Okay, whether that means the body or the mind or the emotions. So you go from thinking to presence, and then to silence, okay, because you can be present and then still be having like a few thoughts. They just don't take you away, but they can still be quite negative and quite distressing. And this is part of the dark night of the soul. This is where I'm going. So so you go from thinking to, I'm just trying to catch up with what I was saying. There's a few things I want to say, and I keep going off. I keep losing my train of thought. But anyway, it's all good, because the good thing about meditation is it makes you intelligent enough that you can literally just start anywhere and go anywhere mentally. Okay, so you go from, that's it. You go from presence to silence, okay, which is presence plus no thought, no, not even a single thought that comes up, only if you need to think. And that's the whole shtick with meditation. That's what it does. You get to choose. You become you become in control of your mind. Anyway, and then you go from silence, and then you go to love, and then no self. So when you're on this journey, you're going to come across, it's the hardest thing you'll do, because your mind doesn't want you to master it, because you rule your mind or it rules you. So if you don't do this, your life probably isn't really going to go anywhere, because you're going to be at the same level of consciousness, and it's not what you say or do that changes the world and changes your life, it's what you become. So if you raise your consciousness, it changes what you become, it changes what you are, it changes your energy, it changes your focus, it changes the amount of effort you put in, which then leads you to live a better life, because your consciousness is growing and you're becoming more. It's where real growth comes from, is from the spiritual level, because you have a good spirit, it trains the mind, it silences the mind. And when the mind thinks it needs to think, like you have memory, but there's positive and negative memory. When you're conscious enough, your negative memory isn't like negative, like remembering negative situations and getting caught in them, isn't there. And remembering positive things is more powerful. So literally it cures the positive and it empowers it cures the negative and empowers the positive. So anyway, you can't lose with this meditation stuff. And it doesn't take long, it goes up quick. Anything of value takes time, but it goes so fucking fast. It's actually worth it. So when you're on this journey, you're going to go through a lot of stuff, as I have stated. So basically, that's dark night of the soul. When you're going through all this shit, it's dark night of the soul. So dark night of the soul is when you're getting a whole bunch. What's happening is it's a catharsis. So a whole bunch of stuff it comes up to come out. It's a purging. You're basically dissolving the barriers that you've built up against love, as Rumi says, which is just thought, which is just ego, which is just veiling, or doubt, fear, which veils God, or veils love, or veils joy, peace, all the good values, all the good characteristics, traits, and characteristics, traits, and I can't remember. I usually pair that with a different word. Anyway, but basically, you're going to be on this journey, and it's going to be fucking hard, because all this shit is coming up. And so there's this image that I saw on a forum, and it was someone talking about meditation. They were saying, it was like an image of like a guy meditating. He's like, okay, let's sit down. And he just sits there, and he's got like bubbles ahead of him, on top of his, like above his head, showing how many thoughts he's having. And then after that, it just starts to go crazy, and it goes hectic crazy, and then it comes down. So what happens is like a bell curve. So it's like, at first it's not much, and then you go through this massive, like, all this shit just comes up, like all these thoughts, all these emotions, even like resistances in the body, which are resistances to thought. So you're basically surrendering. So when you're in the path, you surrender your body to the thought. You relax, you breathe, you look, you listen, you become present, and then your body will start to naturally relax, because you see the body. It comes and goes, but you don't, so you can't be it. But on one level, you are it. Because, and this goes back to what I was saying about, so Nisargadatta Maharaj says, love is knowing I'm everything, wisdom is knowing I'm nothing, and between the two my life flows. So that goes back to what I was saying. Anyway, it's a bit off track, but okay, let me go let me just focus. Yeah, so Dark Night of the Soul is all this shit that's within, and don't think you're just creating it. Like, yeah, you want to subtract, because when you subtract, you add. Okay, when you add, you subtract. So it's all about less thoughts, more focus. Okay, less actions, but focused action. So instead of just spreading yourself thin, you're going deep, like a laser. Like water, so focused that it cuts through diamonds. That's what you want. Anyway, I can go into that in another video, but what I'm gonna focus. Okay, so all this shit's gonna come up, and that's Dark Night of the Soul can be very fleeting, or it can be very extensuous. So it can go on for years, and it's very fucking hard, because you're gonna have, you may even be like suicidal. Like it gets really fucking hard. But just know that basically, if you keep on your path, every time a negative thought comes up and you successfully meditate with it, you're gonna end it, and it's not gonna come back. You can have one thought that kind of has many spurs. So you can have a thought around worry, for example. There's two types of worry, but anyway, you can have a thought around worry, but because you've been focusing on it so much, you've got thoughts about that thought. So you destroy the thought at the core, and you can actually see the whole pattern. You can see the whole pattern and destroy multiple thoughts at once if you see the whole thing. But the structure, the egoic structure, this is what happened to Eckhart Tolle when he was like, I can't live with myself any longer, and who's the I that the self cannot live with? And basically he saw the whole, like, his whole ego structure just dissolved, because what you look at disappears. Whatever you look at disappears. So these structures will start to disappear, and it's going to be hard, because there's going to be a lot of them. Depending on your age when you start meditating, it's always best sooner rather than later. Earlier is always better than later when you're meditating, with anything really. But it's never too late, because it takes about 5 years to get through all this stuff. I'm not through it all myself, but I know enough to know that I'm on the right path and I'm gonna make it. And if you focus on your lifeline to enlightenment is your desire. Your desire is your lifeline. You gotta want it more than you want anything else. And you're lifting the heavy rocks first. You're prioritizing the big things by doing this, because you're looking after the most essential thing in life. Meditation isn't just this. I'll go back to Dark Night of the Soul, but meditation is not just this this little thing that some people do. It's more of a minority than a majority, but ultimately everyone's doing it. So what it is acknowledgement of reality. Okay, you have two things: the mind or the moment. You're thinking in time, or you're present. And when you're present, that's meditation. So it's not like this thing. You can do it wherever you are. It just means being present. Be here now. It's that simple. So Dark Night of the Soul is when your soul goes through a dark night, because it's purging all this shit that you thought was you. Identifications with form, identifications with thought. So you may be like, oh, I'm such a negative person, but once you dissolve that thought, what's left? You're like, oh, but I still got this, and it's like, okay, dissolve that. Like, you just keep turning consciousness back onto itself. You shine the light of consciousness on consciousness. And then eventually you can experience what consciousness is directly but you can't tell anyone. Leo Guru's got a quote. He's like my favorite guy of all time, spiritual teacher now. But he says he knows what consciousness is, but it breaks his heart that he can't tell anyone. So it sounds pretty fucking juicy to me. But so you're gonna flip-flop. So you're gonna basically be meditating, and you're gonna have like a week of bad. It's gonna be very fucking hard. You're not gonna want to. You got to persevere. You have to persevere. That's, as Ramana Maharshi says, that's how you succeed. Those who succeed owe their success to perseverance. So you got to keep persevering. I forgot what I was going to say after that, but it's not an issue forgetting stuff, because you can just, as I said before, start anywhere and go anywhere. You know, your intelligence goes up with meditation. Anyway, dark night of the soul. So what happens is you start to shine the light on your unconscious and your beliefs, your unconscious beliefs, and they start to dissolve. And yeah, so you say, you get rid of all these thoughts. It's different for everyone. Okay, it can go really quick for some people because they're more vigilant, because they care more, because they want it more, so they're more, but I'll do another episode where I talk about what meditation really, like, I can talk about meditation, but I need to give you I can do this in a coaching call. I need to give you a direct first-hand experience of what it actually is. So I can tell you, you can have the insight and then you can have the experience. So those two insights, the intellectual insight and the experiential insight, are going to take you as far as you need to go. I'm also going to have another course on the mindset of conscious mindset and what mindset you need to actually succeed. And eventually you'll actually let go of this mindset. So it's a thorn to remove a thorn. It's not even that, actually. That's usually techniques, but mindsets are a bit different. They work differently. But so it's a thorn to remove. It's more like a temporary crutch. And yeah, it goes away. Anyway, all right. Dark night of the soul. Let's go ham. Here we go. I'm going to put everything into this. Dark night of the soul can come and last as long as it needs to. As long as you persevere, you got to understand that the soul is king. There's two kings, soul king and ego king, but soul king is the true king. So when you keep bringing it back, you're gonna slow the momentum of the mind, okay? You're gonna stop it, you're gonna reverse it and get spiritual momentum, which is gonna go straight through. And this is why they say you feel like you're falling up when you're enlightened, constantly falling up, because your spiritual energy is going up, because the mind goes down, spiritual energy goes up. But it's not like the mind is bad. It's a beautiful servant, but it's a dangerous master. So you just got to use it in the right way and figure out, which it happens on its own. But you still have will, but a lot of your actions are like just coming from God or coming from a higher source or consciousness, or it just kind of like unfolds gracefully, which is my favorite word in the spiritual dictionary, grace. It's the most amazing thing. So you're going to become more graceful as you dissolve these thoughts, and you're going to become more and more vigilant, more and more tolerant, so that when you get like mind storms or mind attacks, as Muji calls them, you're gonna be able to withhold them. No, not withhold. You're gonna be able to tolerate them, basically, and it's just gonna get ever more good, and you're gonna be like killing it. You're gonna be killing it. So it's a slow start, but it's a fast finish, and it's a lot of effort at the start, but then it's effort to the effortless. So it's all worth it. It's the best investment. When they say invest in yourself, this is what they really mean. It's the most important thing. So you got to hang in there. You have to hang in there, okay? If you can't hang in there, you need to talk to someone or talk to yourself. Sit alone in a room and think, figure stuff out, figure your life out. Focus on the big the big things, prioritize your life. So, but I would recommend before you do anything, get your survival needs met. Well, and then start meditating. So start meditating and survival needs both at the same time, because you can meditate and do something at the same time. You're not doing one. Excuse me. You're not doing two things when you meditate and do something. It's one, because you're present and you're doing one thing at a time. That's the definition of Zen. One of the techniques that I've been using for a long time is do one thing at a time. So so Zen is doing one thing at a time. So you go to sit down on a chair, like this chair, and I'm meditating, but I'm also moving my body. Meditation is just silence of mind and presence of mind, the focus of the mind, the concentration, attention. Where attention goes, energy flows, and then it's just gonna go faster and faster and faster and faster. And it's gonna go exponential. So it's gonna be hard, but what's gonna happen is you're gonna have like 6 days of hell and one day that's like okay. And then you're gonna have 6 days of hell and then one day that's like really good. And then and then it's gonna flip. And then eventually you're gonna have 7 days of heaven and then 1 day of hell. Because hell and heaven and middle zone, it's a spectrum, are levels of consciousness. So when you're gonna start in hell, there may be a lot of shit covering it, like egoic patterns, but you're basically going to go down before you go up. You need to take 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You need to pull the bow back before you release it. So I haven't been looking at the camera much, but I hope this is engaging enough. I know the eye moves to, little business tip, like the eye is attracted to movement. So when you're doing videos, do baton gesturing. So moving your hands to the rhythm of your speech and be moving around. Anyway, little tip there. But I'm gonna have a business course, which is gonna be conscious businesses or conscious business course, where I'm gonna talk about different aspects of business and how you can do it in a conscious way that is helping the planet, healing the planet, but also helping your bank account, helping yourself and the ones around you. And yeah, it's going to be juicy, so hang around for that. But that's probably going to be a paid course, so I don't know how much I'm going to charge, maybe $100. That's nothing for the amount of value you're going to be adding to you and others' lives by not manipulating people into buying your products and not using biases to, I mean, you can use biases to make money, but you want to do it in a conscious way. You want to make money that's healthy money. Anyway, Dark Night of the Soul. So, Dark Night of the Soul is the hardest thing you'll ever go through in your life. It may come, it may go, but it's only temporary. What isn't temporary is the ultimate goal of meditation, which is enlightenment, and you become eternal. I've experienced this. And yeah, you realize you can't die. And you realize, and then yeah, it's just juicy stuff. This meditation and this, where it goes, it's just so good, bro. Like, yeah, you're not only going to change your life, the greatest service you can render the world is your own self-realization. So you're not only doing this for yourself. Getting through Dark Night of the Soul means you can help others who are going through Dark Night of the Soul. And it means it's the greatest service you can render the world. So you need to help yourself so you can help others, be an example, and then eventually do the greatest service, which is enlightenment. So there's different words for enlightenment, but anyway, as you probably already know. All right, 24 minutes, so we've got 20 minutes to go. Okay, let me just go ham. I try and go deeper and deeper as time goes on, try and add more and more value, but I keep forgetting what I'm going to say, and then I lose track of things, and I come back and I bounce around, and you know, because my brain is like, here's another side tension, but my brain is it's insightful and intelligent, but it kind of bops around from here to there, and it's hard to like keep it coherent and keep my train of thought kind of smooth, if that makes sense. So anyway, but yeah, Dark Night of the Soul. It's where the soul is kind of like veiled. It's always there, but there's all this shit coming up, and what you need to do, okay, with Dark Night, so this is how you get out of it. And you know what it is. It's meditation, but you just got to be with it. You got to be as you are. You got to be, as Ramana Maharshi says, do not meditate, be. So you got to experiment with a whole bunch of different techniques. So let me give you 5 techniques. Doing one thing at a time, okay? So just focusing on the present moment. Doing one thing at a time. The next one is being in the gap between 2 thoughts, okay? So moving, and you haven't had your next thought, but you've just had your previous thought, so you're kind of in the gap between those. It tricks yourself into being present. The third one is by R.J. Spina, and he says that be like it's your first time on earth. What's this road? Yeah, be like it's your first time on earth. Try that. It's a really good one. Next one, 4, I would say, is breathing, because you can do breath work where you hold your breath. So you breathe in through your nose, you breathe out all the way through your nose, you hold your nose, you put a timer on, and if you can reach 90 seconds, you'll get a natural DMT release into your system. I haven't yet achieved this, but I bought a course through Mindvalley, a breathwork course, and this is what the guy was saying. And I've seen someone on a video who I believe had it because his energy was crazy. And also with videos, you can like, it's kind of tricky, but it sounds weird, but you can like ask questions mentally and then get answers. You can download answers. And this is the thing about when you get through Dark Night of the Soul, it's all going to be worth it, because you're going to be able to download things. But the thing about enlightenment that they say is, and I know enough to know this is true, is it's not as good as you think, but it's way better. It's better than you think, but it's not all that it's cracked up to be. So it's like, yeah, so it's like really good, but it's so simple, so plain, so obvious, but so profound. So yeah, so 4, breathing. Okay, so we had do one thing at a time, be in the gap between 2 thoughts, be like it's your first time on earth, breathing, and the last one is, in my opinion, the greatest meditation practice you can ever do, and that's feel the inner body. So if you close your eyes and hold your arm out in front of you, I can't really do it now because I'm walking, and then you go, how do you know my arm's there? 90% of the time people will say, because I can feel it, or they'll be like, I don't know, or whatever, but basically you can feel it. That's the inner body. You go into the inner body, you intensify it virtually indefinitely, and let me cross the road here. Yeah, so, and then you spread it to your whole body, and then basically like it's really, really good for your immune system because you're feeling every like organ and every, I mean, I don't think you experience it like that. Like I haven't spread it that much. The thing is, it's really tricky. You gotta build your way up to this one. You can't go straight for it because, look, you can, but you're gonna take a lot of hits. So there's 2 things on the consciousness journey: hits and bumps. Hit is when your consciousness goes down because you have a fearful thought and you resist it. And bumps, so when your consciousness goes up, you have a positive thought or you have a negative thought or whatever, but you bring it back to the present moment. This is something I really want to, man, there's so much to say, but one thing I want to touch on is, oh man, I just lost my train of thought again. This is the frustrating thing, but this is just because I'm training my mind to think differently, and there's a lot to say, and anyway, but let's go back to Dark Night of the Soul. So yeah, they're the 5 meditations I would recommend. So you can't really do the inner body meditation first up. You gotta like breathe and look and listen and build your consciousness up to a certain level, and then when it's at that level, you can start to invite the feet. You work in your periphery and you work your way in. You focus on your hands, you focus on your arms, you close your eyes. That's a really good one. If you close your eyes and feel the inner body, for some reason it's way easier because I guess there's no just visual distraction. And yeah, so there are 5 meditations I would recommend. They can take you the whole way. And I know enough to know this is true. That's like one of my favorite things to say. I know enough to know this is true. Because it's true. It's true. So yeah, for Dark Night of the Soul, what I would recommend is eating healthy, exercising, okay, looking after yourself, okay? Take care of the body. A healthy body, healthy minds. Healthy minds, healthy body. Healthy life, okay? So how it works is you have a desire, your true, authentic desires. then that goes down to intention, which goes into thought, which goes into action, which goes into behavior, which goes into life. So when you meditate, you start to silence the mind and focus the mind at the same time. Okay, at the same time, but they don't happen at the same time. But they're happening at the same time, if you know what I mean. I think you know what I mean. But anyway, basically they don't happen at the same time, obviously, but like they go up, your consciousness goes up, which makes the possibility of thinking or not thinking clearer to what you need to do in that moment, if that makes sense. Yeah. So, alright, so Dark Night of the Soul. Okay, so they're the 5 meditations I'd recommend. Eat healthy, look after your life, survive and thrive, okay? Don't just survive, don't get complacent. But the thing is, you're going to get so conscious, and the thing is, awareness alone is curative. So you could be smoking, you could be eating unhealthy, you could have bad habits, you could be trying to no fat, but you keep relapsing. You could be not exercising, doing things that are unconscious, right? And when you bring enough awareness to it, eventually, like biting your fingers and nails, that's one that I'm naturally dropping. So what happens is you go to do it, but awareness is there. And then you're like, wait, what am I doing? Like, why would I do this? Why would I damage myself? And you can damage yourself in various ways. So basically this is what it does. So this is what you have to look forward to if you go through it. And this is the thing, it's just like biting your nails. It's like you get a negative thought, or you get you get a negative thought, or get a negative emotion that comes up. You become aware of it, and in the light of awareness, it can't survive it. The knife of consciousness cuts through ego, and awareness eats ego. But if you go in the other direction, ego, E-G-O, ease God out, that's what it's going to do. And you're going to be adding thoughts. And the thing about oh man, I had something good to say and I keep forgetting. That's alright. It's not really an issue because I can just pick up where I left off and create it and say whatever I want to say. Alright, so we got 10 minutes to go. Let's make this juicy. Alright, so yeah, you need to look after yourself because the body and the mind are connected and they need each other. Okay, so it's not that one is, look, they say the mind is more powerful than the body because it can heal the body, but the body can't heal the mind, but that's not true. If you're taking weed, if you smoke weed, which for the first time in 7 years I accidentally did because I walked into a room where they were doing it and it got me high, like halfway high, like 5 out of 10 high. And it was not good for my conscience, it was not good for my mind. And I realized you're a sponge, you know. If you want to change a flower, if you want it to grow, you don't change the flower, you change its environment. So that's what you need to do. You need to realize that what you put in your body matters and affects your mind. So get on a diet, eat healthy, or better yet, you can fast. As RJ Spina talks about, fasting is like one of the best things you can do for growing your consciousness, because that's what the ascetics used to do. That's what all the old spiritual teachers used to do, and they teach is not eating, because you're putting information in your body, and what happens is when you fast, your body kind of resets, and at different points different things activate. So it's like after 24 hours this happens, after 48 hours this happens. I'm not sure what they are, but if you get RJ Spina's, I highly recommend RJ Spina. If you want to go exponential, and this is the best thing. So you need to meditate, you need to absorb conscious content, okay? You need to look after your life, and maybe the most important one is you need to be around conscious people. If you can't read books, well, yeah, if you can't be around them, read books. If you can't be around them, watch videos. You'll naturally attract people who are doing the same thing as you, because like attracts like. Law of attraction, what you put out comes back. You attract what you are. And that's another little thing. If you want a good girl or guy or partner, be the person you want to attract. Be like the kind of person you want in your life, and you will attract them. So you will, and there's no doubt. This is the only thing, and the only thing that's going to stop you if you're in Dark Night of the Soul. Doubt and fear are the only things. They can't stop you. This is the thing. The ego is trying to stop you because it's you're awakening out of it. It's dying, and it's like in 2 inches of water, like I'm drowning, and it's flopping around like crazy because it's dying. So dark night of the soul is a good thing. It's a purge and you have to go through it, okay? What stands in the way is the way. Sorry about my... What stands in the way is the way. Hello. Yeah, so what you want to do is you got to look after yourself, and in every fucking way, in every financially. Don't think money is the root of all evil. It's not true. Money is an exchange of value. You get money from people, you get money by energy and effort. So you got to have the energy and you got to put in the work. But yeah, so look after yourself, and when you get out of dark night of the soul, because you were bringing health, wealth, love, and happiness, the 4 pillars of the good life, up at the same time. Hold on, shit. Because you're bringing them all up at the same time. When one blows and overflows, like their 4 cups, health, wealth, love, or relationships and happiness, when they overflow, you're gonna thank yourself, because you didn't sacrifice anything for anything. You didn't make money sacrificing your health. You didn't meditate sacrificing your making money. Like, you're gonna thank yourself because you're getting everything going. So, okay. What else? Dark night of the soul. Yeah, so the thing is, it'll last at different times. You're going to have breaks from it, but those breaks are going to extend over time and just get longer and longer and longer until it's just one moment. Your whole life is just in one moment. And it's going to be different. You're going to attract different things. Ultimately, you're going to get what you want, because meditation gets you everything. That's a quote by, I think, Swami Vivekananda. Meditation gets you everything. It literally does. I know enough to know that's true. Trust me. So don't think, oh, I shouldn't want this. It's like, you're going to get what you want, so don't worry. But you also will get what you need. So you get what you want through getting what you need. So life gives you whatever experience is most helpful for the evolution of your consciousness. In layman's terms, life gives you what you need. And then when you face it and surrender, because the whole spiritual journey is surrender, so that's the key thing with Dark Night of the Soul. You need to surrender. Do not fight it, because what you resist persists. What you accept, you go beyond. So if you have a negative thought and you accept it, you go beyond it, turns into conscious. The tricky thing is, you can have positive and negative thoughts, and even positive thoughts can be negative because you're still adding to it. So, because it's still ego. So when yeah, your ego is both positive and negative. It's just identity, it's just noise. So even if it's positive noise, it's still noise. So what way am I gonna go? Yeah. So you got to let go of it all. You got to let it all go, but you still need a body and a mind to function in the world. So don't think you need to have an ego death and never come back, but it's going to affect you differently. Like Nisargadatta Maharaj, he didn't have memory. He literally did not remember anything. Like, so to speak. So like, obviously he can talk, he can drive a car, he can walk, he can function, but he doesn't use his memory to remember things, because that was his thing. That was how God was manifesting in him. So, alright. So it's going to affect you differently, but I want to get you excited. I want to be optimistic. It feels better, as the Dalai Lama says. I want you to get to a point where you've got such a strong why, you've got such a strong drive. Because if you don't go through this dark night of the soul, you have to. You don't have a choice. If you don't go through, it's just going to get worse. But it's going to naturally unfold. As I talked about, my favorite word, grace. Grace is going to hit you. Grace is the greatest thing. It's basically where it's like sometimes when you see like a figure skater, they're like skating and they do a trick and then they just land, and it's just fucking beautiful. It's graceful. Grace can manifest itself in so many different ways. There's fierce grace, which is, I believe it's a book by Ram Dass. Ram Dass had a stroke, but it made him more conscious because he surrendered to it. So that's the tricky thing. But yeah, back to what I was talking about with weed. I smoked it accidentally and it affected my mind and it fucked me up. It took me a whole day to bounce back, but you will bounce back and you will get better and better at bouncing back. And your gravitational homeostasis pull towards the soul will be strengthened, and you'll be so conscious that like nothing throws you. It doesn't matter how negative the person is. But if someone is more negative than you are positive, there's two things you can do. You can run out, which means run away, remove yourself from the situation, or you can run in and surrender to it. If you're in, look, another way of looking at it is, as Eckhart Tolle says, if you're in a situation that you don't want to be in, there's three things you can do. You can accept it, you can change it, or you can remove yourself from it, so avoid it. But the best thing to do is usually to accept it and then act on it. So whatever arises, love that. In other words, surrender to it. Sorry, I really hope my face isn't like this with the whole fucking... Anyway. And don't think when you become enlightened and you raise your consciousness and you go through all this that you're going to get to a point where you can't be authentic and there's a certain way that an enlightened person needs to be. No. It manifests itself in beautiful ways in different people. And just sounds trite, but like, just be you, you know? Don't try and be anything. As Osho says, don't try to become, be. You know, don't try and meditate as Ramana Maharshi says, be, you know. No, don't try and become this. Just, it's really simple. You just be present, you stay with it, you tough it out, and basically it's an opportunity for massive conscious growth. Massive fucking conscious growth. Because all this energy is in you, in your head, in your stomach, and you basically just need to surrender to it, go into it, feel into it. Feeling is healing. Probably the most important thing. Feeling is healing. Go into it, be conscious, stay with it, and that energy will be transmuted, alchemized. True alchemy, this is what true alchemy is. Alchemized into your consciousness. And then you're gonna get experience, and you're gonna know how to handle anything when anything pops up, and you're gonna be all good. So I got 2 minutes left roughly. So fuck, this has been good. I'm proud of myself because I wasn't really feeling. I'm like, I don't know if I got enough wisdom, but the thing is, wisdom is infinite. When you become intelligent enough, when you become conscious enough, you're gonna be pulling wisdom out of your ass. Because you're going to be able to, let's say you only know a few words. There's an infinite combination of ways you can say those few words. Because there's an infinite amount of meaning you can attach to it. So you're going to attach meaning to things you didn't even know existed within you. And you're going to be able to express them, if you know what I mean. You're going to be able to express them. So, alright, I'm going to end this video. Let's just quickly do a little summary. So, Dark Night of the Soul is shit. You don't know how long it's going to last, but you have to stick with it because it does get easier, and the people that matter won't leave. The people that care about you won't leave. Okay? So you raise your consciousness, you go through it, you do it, and then you could help others. Because you're going to be attracting conscious people into your life when you're doing conscious things. So number one, also forgive yourself. We only got a minute to go. Fuck. Forgive yourself for the negative thoughts you have about yourself and others. It's unwanted thoughts. There's two ways to tell how much progress you're having on the spiritual path. Number one is how much peace you feel, and number two is how many negative thoughts you're free from, how many unwanted thoughts you're free from. There's other metrics, but they're the main ones. So, and you'll know you're at the end if you feel a peaceful joy. You're close to the truth if you feel a peaceful joy, is what Rumi says. So I recommend reading quotes, reading books, watching videos, meeting people, going out there, experiencing life. You're going to be through it soon. Just try as much as you can, as hard as it is to enjoy it. You got this. You got this. Fucking just persevere. Those who succeed owe their success to perseverance. Peace.